Hello, welcome to the Fulhamish Quick Take after our 3-0 defeat to Newcastle at St James's Park on Saturday. And look, the past couple of quick takes have been very giddy. There's been lots to say. Today is going to be a short quick take. It's going to be a quick take. Maybe more what it should be. A 3-0 defeat at Newcastle. Ordinarily, you wouldn't read too much into it. Newcastle are a top team. And St James's Park is a really difficult place to go. They've won now 7 in a row at home in the league. And they've beaten some big teams. They've beaten Arsenal. They've beaten United. They've beaten Chelsea. In recent weeks. So 3-0 is not a disgrace. But I think that doesn't obviously paint the picture of exactly how today went and the circumstances going into today's game. I think a lot of Fulham fans had a secret bit of hope that we'd shock Newcastle today. And I think start of the game, that looked eminently possible. But there's one big moment, and it's Raul's red card. It's stupid. I can't come on here and say it's not a red card. It is a red card. I saw Peter Rutzer from The Athletic on Twitter question, was it a clear and obvious? Was it necessary for VAR to intervene? But rarely, I'm going to disagree with Peter here and say that, yes, it was. If that had been the other way round, we'd be calling for it. I think those kind of challenges is what VAR is there for. I think it's on the line. I think it's, I saw someone say it's more of an orange than a red. Because I don't think it's the worst foul I've ever seen. It's not that reckless. It's clumsy. It's just, I think the context, though, obviously, is that a few minutes earlier, how Raul Jimenez is quite badly elbowed by Jamal Lascelles. And I think he's lucky for that not to get a review as well. In my opinion, I know there'll be some Newcastle fans watching this that disagree. I'm obviously going to say that. I'm biased. I'm a Fulham fan. And the problem is, though, is whether or not you think that should have been a red, Raul needs to keep his head. And it's immensely disappointing. I think we all thought we turned a corner with Raul Jimenez. And look, there is an element I think we have. I don't think that this suddenly means we've now got to get a striker in January. But it just feels like this Fulham team has this ability to shoot itself in the foot through ill discipline. And we know that the most famous example was last season at Old Trafford and everything that happened there in the FA Cup. And the timing of this one is horrible. I think this game on Tuesday against Everton is one of our biggest matches in years, and he's going to be out. And as much as it was disappointing to lose Jimenez today, because we probably could have got a point out of today's game, maybe even 3 if the game goes well, considering the differing forms and the injuries and the suspensions. It's cost us today, but I think the bigger problem is it's cost us going forward. You look at the next 3 games, you've got Everton in the Cup, which is such a blow. You've then got Burnley at home. You've then got Bournemouth away. It's 3 massive games in our season, and now we've lost our star striker. And from a moment of, it wasn't a last-ditch tackle. It wasn't to save us potentially conceding a goal. It was just reckless, and, it's a body blow to all of the confidence that Raul has built up, and now we've got to find another way of scoring again, just as it felt like we'd solved the problems. But I think part of the issue is that Marco Silva's sides play on the edge. We play with a lot of aggression. We get a lot of red cards. Well, we don't get a lot of red cards. We get a lot of yellow cards. And we said it after that United game last year. This is a consequence of the way we play, is sometimes that goes over the top and costs us in key moments. And that's what happened today. I actually thought for the rest of the first half, Fulham were impressive. I think we looked good going forward. I think we created some dangerous opportunities. Obviously, Newcastle had the majority of the ball, but I think that was maybe the moment where there could have been some sort of rear guard, 10 men do something valiant. I think once, I remember thinking at half-time, oh great, we got to half-time 0-0. Actually, it didn't quite work in our favour, because as the second half kicked off, I feel like Newcastle had just had 15 minutes to organise themselves, and maybe Eddie Howe telling them, look, keep plugging away, you'll get a goal. And that's exactly what happened. half the cast of Biker Grove decided to score a goal today. It was all Newcastle lads. Lewis Miley got the first, and Dan Burn obviously got the third. Look, the defending's not amazing, but when you're down to 10 men for that long, I don't think you can really scrutinise the defence. Like, we were out on our feet. There was nothing going forward because it's a tough place to play 11v11. So trying to play there 11v10, especially when you haven't got something to hold on to, is a tough nut to crack. And look, maybe had the game gone on a bit longer and we were fighting for the 0-0. As soon as it's 1-0, I think you know the game's up. The second comes quite soon after. And to be honest, I was glad in the end that it finished 3. Because it was just a case of damage limitation. I think when it starts getting to 4 and 5 and 6, confidence could have been knocked. We've held the massive danger. We actually took some quite key players off, probably with one eye on Tuesday. Once the game's at 2-0 and you're down to 10 men, the game is done. So we might as well rest a few players. A few positives today. Look, I think we can take some heart from the way that we did perform shortly after going down to 10 men. It was great to see Rodrigo Muniz come back on, and that timing feels good ahead of obviously Raul Jimenez's suspension. It feels like maybe we have got an option. We know that Muniz offers something for us, and he was very good against Brighton, he was very good against Ipswich, and he was good against Man United until he got that injury. So fingers crossed he can do a job up there and slightly replace Raul Jimenez in these upcoming games. I wouldn't be very confident if we had to have Carlos Vinicius, but I'm happy to see Roddy. I thought Issa Diop played well. That was a bit of a surprise. Apparently Bassi was ill, which is the reason that he was dropped. So interesting to see if he goes back to Bassi and Tosin on Tuesday. Bern Leno played his part, and I thought Anthony Robinson was decent again up the left-hand side, always full of running and looked one of the more likely to make something happen. So there's not an awful lot to review today from a Fulham point of view. Well done to Newcastle, under difficult circumstances for you guys, a lot of injuries, a lot of suspensions. Obviously that blow of losing on Wednesday, I thought you reacted well. I think the circumstances played out in your favour. I think we gift wrapped you the win. In some ways, like as much as you played well, as soon as it was down to 10 men, like it was there for you to win. And I think 11v11, I think there would have been a game. Whether we'd have won, who knows? Like, it was impossible to know. But I think as soon as that happened, it was gift wrapped. But these aren't massively the games that we have to look at. And when things like that happen, you have to take it on the chin and move on. And I don't think any of the players will be too downhearted. Tuesday's massive. Tuesday is so big. I think in everything in our season, get to a cup semi-final, and this is one hell of a season. This is uncharted territory. Lose, and it's just a bit another run-of-the-mill Premier League season. We might perform well in the league, but I think we all know that for Fulham, cups are so important. So I've got everything crossed that Tuesday goes well, and there's other Premier League games as well in order to recapture the league form. The away form is becoming a little bit of a concern. There have been a lot of away defeats now, and no win away since the start of the season, I think, is something to be mildly concerned about. But look, keep winning your home games, and it's not so important that we're not picking up points on the road. We haven't had that easy games, and our season has been quite weighted towards easier home games in the first half of the season, easier away games in the second half of the season, whilst we've had some very, very, very tough places to go. We've been to nearly all, I think, now of the kind of top 5, top 6 in the league. So a lot of the tough away trips have now been done, and there's some more winnable fixtures coming up on the road. So fingers crossed that can change a little bit. But yeah, a disappointing day at the inn, no doubt about it, but much bigger games on the horizon for Fulham. So thank you for watching today. Podcast will be out Sunday evening, Monday morning, with all the proper review of the match and, of course, a preview of that big game against Everton. Have a good rest of your weekend. Let us know what you thought of the game in the comments. Been really enjoying the kind of back and forth after these quick takes, and the numbers are going up recently, which is really exciting to see. So let us know what you thought of the game, whether you're a Fulham fan, Newcastle fan, whatever. It's great to hear from you, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come on, you guys.